welcome back to Clockwork Noodles for the 7th episode of the 4th season of Golden Kamuy. It's finally back. Now, before we do get going, we will be breaking down Golden Kamuy on Tuesday, just because Vinland Saga has the Monday slot. They've had that slot a little while now, so Golden Kamuy is going to be bumped across to Tuesday. That also allows me to have time to process what I see, because with Golden Kamuy, I tend to get very confused very easily. Thank you guys so much for tuning back in. If you are returning from my last half of the 6 episodes I broke down about half a year ago, thank you guys so much for tuning back in with me. I am very happy to be breaking this down with you, as I really do have a space in my heart when it comes to Golden Kamuy. I love Golden Kamuy and I am invested all the way to the end. Before we get going, do make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss out on anything, and you can also go check out my midway review. Golden Kamuy isn't on the midways, but in the midways I've crowned top 3 OPs, EDs and current standing animes. I have a feeling 6 months ago I actually gave Golden Kamuy's OP an actual award anyway. It's Aki. I had a chance to listen to Aki's song a lot more, and I've noticed something about the lyrics, and I'm not quite sure if the song was around before Golden Kamuy or he's made the song for Golden Kamuy, because if it's made for Golden Kamuy, some of those lyrics are a little bit telling, and I want to bring it up a little bit later on in my breakdown because it makes more sense a little later on. So let's get straight to it, coming in with my favourite person, but definitely the channel's favourite person, Leaky Brain. Let's talk about Leaky Brain because you guys absolutely love this guy. My friend loves him for some reason. I find him very gross, and especially after this episode, he is definitely a very good villain. He's definitely got the playing people down to a T. There's a moment even in this episode where you can see him pulling the strings on the boat. Just so sly, so clever. Leaky Brain is now here for Asirapa, and his plans for Asirapa are quite quickly revealed. It was interesting to see that he wasn't really telling any sweet lies. Whether he thought it was just enough, I don't need to tell sweet lies by this point. So Kism is quite quick going, wait, why are you not telling any lies? Why is the mask slipping off quite quickly? Whether by this point he thinks he's brainwashed them enough to get away with finally coming out and showing his true self, probably the case. It doesn't really put off his men, apart from Tanigaki. And Tsukism is just a bit of an interesting character because he already knows the truth. He has no intention of treating Asirapa like a human. He's just going to have her locked away until the gold is found, simply just treating her like a hostage. He would probably be using some more violent means as well, because I don't think he's too bothered by using them on her. Since it's been 6 months since we heard the Shiraishi plea when he made the statement about trusting Asirapa, I've never trusted Leaky Brain. The leaking this week is just so gross, and it gets a lot more worse to the point where you're like, are you actually okay? Something is seriously wrong with you medically, and I'm surprised that you're still standing upright with the amount of fluid that you're losing, because no doubt your brain is leaking. Asirapa's moving speech showing us that she has really grown up to a strong person. She's finally found herself, found what she's moving towards. She's found a goal. She knows exactly what it is that she wants, and she believes that the Ainu should be protected. The gold belongs to them, and it should not be used for any other purpose than helping them out. I do wonder, is his brain leaking because he's with these heightened emotions? I'm wondering if there's a correlation between the leaking and him getting, whether it's frustrated, whether it's I'm having to come up with some lies, I'm getting a bit more anxious. I don't think he is particularly anxious. I'm just wondering if his brain leaks more when he's in a heightened emotional state, and that could be any kind of emotion, because at this point he's probably getting very excited because Asirapa's right in front of him and he's finally connected all the dots. I was sadly disappointed in Tsukisima and Koito for actually hurting Sugimoto, but that is the point. Golden Kamuy has always made me forget that people are not on the same side. Often enough it will use its comedy to make me go, oh, this is fun, I'm enjoying the chemistry between this little group. Then I remember that they're not really friends, they're just cooperating. A lot of the time people are together because they have to cooperate, because they want something. They weren't really friends to begin with. Tsukisima is pretty much loyal to Leaky Brain, so obviously he's going to do what he wants. Koito, I was sad because I thought Koito might be shifting a bit when he had found out that Leaky Brain had tricked him, but he does go quite hard when it comes to Sugimoto, and the two have never really been the best buddies anyway, but this was always going to happen, and it's sad to see it happen. But thankfully nobody has passed away out of the main lot this week. There's a lot of people who do die, but they are side characters. I do want to keep an eye on that because I think things are going to change quite quickly from here on in. Tanigaki, I've always loved Tanigaki. I think he's such a great character. He does do the right thing. He protects Asirapa and Shiraishi, but then he goes back. He knows that he has to protect Inkamet doing the right thing. He has to go back, but you know that he wouldn't harm a Sirpa. He also distracts the army and sends them in a new direction, which is really, really nice, and then takes pride in his new title. A little tear to the eye because he's such a great character, but it's sad to see him now leaving the limelight. Now, Vasily shooting the guy in the leg, but not the leg. Yeah. Something bugging me about Vasily, and it's been bugging me a little while, and I'm also starting to wonder if Vasily is working with someone. Only because when my god, Kenjiro Suda, comes back at the end of the episode, some of the clothes were already missing. He says, "Who is it?" The boy says, "It's a man on a boat." I think Vasily is working with someone. It's a possibility that Vasily wants the gold for Russia. It's been a while. He is fighting for Russia. Ogata knew of him, and that's why we had the amazing standoff in the forest. Oddly enough, for Ogata, he doesn't get the headshot on Vasily. Vasily is still alive. I don't think the two are working together, unless they are. But I also don't think they are because we had that amazing standoff. I don't know. If anything goes wrong, I'm blaming it on Vasily. My money is on him. But I did find out recently that Vasily's voice actor is actually the Duke from Why Raeliana Ended Up in the Duke's Mansion. Adore this guy. And it does make me wonder if we're actually going to hear this guy speak at any point in Golden Kamuy. Because right now, if I remember, he can't talk because of the damage that Ogata has done to him in that famous standoff. That standoff as well, sniper versus sniper, that won awards. That actually got quite a few awards in the anime community for one of the best fights during that season. So very, very proud of Golden Kamuy for doing that. Leaky Brain catching up very quick. Now, I was very dubious about him teleporting. He was on the ice, then suddenly he's already kicked off and is in the ship and the ship's behind him. I know one ship is faster than the other, but that fast, I'm a little bit dubious. But okay, I will let it go. Out of the two ships, Leaky Brain's ship was more likely to be able to break ice anyway. I was also quite dubious whether the ship that they were on would be willing to outrun the actual military. I was very shocked that they were actually okay to coordinate with them. Likening the ice parting to a kimono slit opening, good old Shiraishi, back in our hearts, we have missed you. Leaky Brain has always played dirty, so I wasn't shocked that they'd suggest faking the grandma's death, play on Asiripa's emotions, but that does make me wonder if Asiripa's new change, Asiripa's new motivation and determination wouldn't actually work on her. I think Leaky Brain is probably underestimating Asiripa and thinking she's still a child, but Asiripa has shown that she's matured quite a lot. It's a possibility as well she might be able to call the bluff because she's always been able to sense if people are okay. It probably won't work, but it might come as a shock when that is announced in the paper. We are also told that Leaky Brain is planning to overthrow the government in his big old plan, which does not surprise me, but it is such a big, powerful move. I do wonder if we're going to get a chance to see that in motion. A little bit more info from Kiro, who sadly passed away last season. The reason why he was fighting alongside Japan was to protect his people. In the end, we were told that the movement that would support the Ainu fell through. It ended up being scrapped in the government, and that's when things started to change because they realised that the government didn't have their people's rights and their people's best interests at heart. My brain is still a little bit foggy because I haven't actually done any catch up reminding myself what happened last seasons. Now, Asiripa was not forced to reveal the code by Sugimoto because he's not Leaky Brain, he's not evil. Does now lead to a few questions, the way that she reacts. She says that if she was to tell the truth, Sugimoto would leave her behind and go and do it on his own, which makes me think that it's going to end up leading in either her death or his death, but I think mainly her death. I've started to think that Asiripa might die for a little while now because of the lyrics of the song. Now, I'm still not sure if Aki wrote his song before Golden Kamuy or they said, this is the song I want you to create, you have to include this. I would like to know, if anyone does know what way round it goes when it comes to anime songs, do let me know. The lyrics state, I'm going to die, my new friend. Maybe put Asiripa at such grave risk she knows there's a possibility she might die because she said, I am happy to go with him and go into hell. She doesn't want him to protect her. She knows that if she says it's going to be dangerous, he will leave her behind somewhere safe. He won't let her go. So she wants to go, and it's a possibility that whatever it is going to lead to her death, which is why she's keeping the code up her sleeve. Now let's talk about the big old twist at the end. Ogata, my beloved Kenjiro Suda, is back. I actually have a poster of Ogata now on my wall. I got it over Christmas. It is a very cool picture of Ogata with the gunshot, and it's almost like he's looking in a mirror and the mirror's got gunshots in it and it's cracked and distorted. Perfect for Ogata as he's a very complicated character. He's the only character in this show I don't understand. I still don't think he's working with Vasily, so I'm still very confused. I'm also confused because he's back, and I was certain that his story was over. He ran off into the wilderness, that was it. I am very shocked that he has come back. I mean, I'm happy to see Kenjiro Suda back because he's not been in anything in quite a while. I am wondering if he's after Vasily and Asiripa, but he doesn't really seem to have any use for the gold. I don't quite know why he wants the gold, because he's not working with Leaky Brain and he doesn't seem to be lined up with Hijikata or anything, so I'm not quite sure. He's just there to be chaotic, and I don't think he himself even knows what it is that he wants. Who took the clothes off? Which is why I'm thinking Vasily must be working with someone. Maybe he killed the man because he knew it wasn't an option and he wanted to leave that man there because he knew somebody was going to pick up the clothing. And Leaky Brain finds the guy and he had clothes. I don't think Leaky Brain would have taken the uniform because he would have taken the whole lot. But then if Leaky Brain did take the uniform, it's because he doesn't want somebody impersonating him, or he fears that Ogata's not dead. I don't know. I don't think he is Leaky Brain because it doesn't quite line up, because I don't think he knows Ogata's dead. And I don't think he'd be worried that Ogata's floating around to go steal it. He must fear that somebody is tailing the group who isn't linked, or Vasily is definitely working with somebody who is going to be grabbing that uniform. But we will find out, hopefully, in the next 6 episodes. Ogata at the end, paying for his boat trip via COD. Something he definitely picked up when working with Asiripa, so he definitely learned a little bit from his time with them. But yeah, a fantastic first episode, and I think it fits perfectly with this week's animes because there's been a lot of death this week in particular, and Golden Kamuy's 7th episode was very bloody. Very happy to see our characters back. I'm so excited to see the conclusion of season 4. You've kept me waiting half a year, so I definitely want to know where it's all going to go now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in once again. My favourite character is Sugimoto and Tanigaki. I love Ogata because of his voice actor, but he's still not my favourite character in the anime. My boys are Sugimoto, Tanigaki. They're just wholesome. I love both of them to pieces. Can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next episodes. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves. Have a great day, guys. Bye bye.